Go back with me to Genesis 22. Are you catching this thing? That's a whole lot better Jehovah Jireh than this one we're singing about. I mean, you've had Jehovah Jirehs. You can take me right back to a place where you were standing when you had an open heaven and you saw and you said, this is what's going to happen. My boy is coming home. My boy is coming home. My girl is coming off the streets. Kiss her goodbye, world. She's back in the arms of Jesus. And you know it's coming. And you know it's coming. And nothing can stop it. When you see it in the heavenlies, nothing can stop it. I mean, governments can try to stop you and they can't stop you. Hare tamakia. But look, come back over here. And when you're in that 22nd chapter, are you learning anything? Yes. In that 22nd chapter, when Abraham has this tremendous encounter with God, there's about 5 things that take place in this thing that's important to us. Number 1, Jehovah Jireh is a place where God puts you to the test. Now there's many a time that there are testings that we get that we might see where we're at. But this one here says God wanted to know where Abraham was at. He wanted to settle the matter with Abraham. You know, church, please know this. You would think where I walk today that there would be continuously tests about my giving. But there's no tests anymore. I mean, just $10,000 today. I told my wife on the phone, we got to send $10,000 over to Mexico, to Larry Huggins over there in Mexico. And I said, and there's a young man starting a new church down there in, I believe it's Pittsburgh. I said, we got to send that boy, and told her $1,000 to send it here. And every day, all the time, it's going on. There's no test. It's not a test. Speak it, I'll do it. Speak it, I'll do it. But there came a time that I did meet some tests. There were some times that it was a testing of me. And many of you catch that time in your life, and God help you that you don't fail the test. When the time comes to get on the line with God and quit just knowing about His acts, quit getting excited about every little goosebump that comes along and a little giddy feeling, but that you know what's getting ready to take place. I will have a promotion on my job. It is already set. Nothing can stop it. All the in-laws, all the relatives of the boss can move in, but I will have my promotion. But it doesn't happen on the day of the promotion. If it comes from Jehovah, there's a time when you have an open heaven and you see it and you speak it and it takes place. You didn't go to Russia to see what was going on, what might be something there. You went there, you saw something was going to be in Russia. You saw something was going to be in Alexandria. You saw something in Lubbock. You saw it. And when you went for it, you couldn't be stopped. Zoning couldn't stop you. Creflo Dollar, when he went to build the big dome, they said, we've made a change. We now have regional churches and local churches, and your church is so big that it's now a regional church and it can't go on that property that you have. And Brother Creflo looked at him and said, you will start dropping dead one by one till you give me my permit. The next day, one fell dead with his face in his soup, just flap. They said, let's talk. Let's talk. Same identical thing took place when we built our great building in Fort Worth. Your pastor's been to that building, 135,000 square foot, 10 acres of all cement parking around it. And in the last hours of it, when we're rebuilding the sign, my son Bucky comes in and says, Daddy, we're about 12 foot oversized on that sign. About 12 foot oversized on that sign of what our permit is. He said, what do we need to do? I said, well, you need to go down there and get a variance. He said, Daddy, nobody will ever know. He said, honey, I said, honey, you and I'll know. Go down there and get that variance. And so he went down to get the variance, and this guy, he was an antichrist. If you was building a massage parlor or a honky-tonk, you could build it any way you want to. But if it was a church, I mean, we'd be everything right up to standard. And finally, when Bucky talked to him, my son Bucky, he talked to him. He said, look, you guys have done everything right up to par. You don't even have to come to the meeting tonight. I'll just take care of it. And now Bucky believed him. Didn't understand spiritual warfare. And the next morning, he went down there to get his variance. And they said, you got no variance. Said they turned you down last night, and somebody in the room said he spoke against it and asked them to bring that you have to take the sign down. Well, Thanksgiving came, the holidays ran by. And so when the thing was back up again, I said, Bucky, go down and get this started, whatever we have to do. If we have to cut part of the sign off, what we have to do, we got to have the sign out there. And Bucky went down there and he came back. He said, Daddy, the sign's all right. I said, what happened? He said, well, this guy's about 40 years old. He said he pumped a blood clot out of his leg up into his lungs, and he's deader than a hammer right now, Daddy. He's a dead man. And he asked about the variance. I said, let's forget about the variance. They said, go right on with your building. Does anybody understand what I'm saying to you? When God showed me that old shopping center over there, and he showed me that it'd be the finest building in the city, when I saw it, you couldn't stop it any longer. It was unstoppable. Is anybody getting this thing? It's a place of testing, but once you go through that test, church, you don't have to go through it again and again. Jehovah Jireh is a place where you decide that God's provision is already on the way. Already on the way.
Yes, sir.
Now, church, get a hold of that. Please get a hold of that. Many of you just wonder, is it going to happen? I'm moving in faith. I'm walking in faith. Oh, child of God, listen, there comes a time when you know that you know that you know that you have it. And what you have to know is you have to know the ways of God. Because there's ways God operates. And once you get a hold of the ways of God, you become unstoppable.